I'm saying, why are we
I
not
think there's
just
a
saying things are not
misconception
going
when you
down?
guys talk about gravity and the fact that it's not actually a force.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, we know.
Even by the people that tell us that it's a thing, tell us it's not a force. So why are the people that have argued that it's not a force now accept that it's something else doing something
Do you
else?
understand the
Get out of here with
Do you
that
understand
shit.
the difference between point source versus non-point source?
No,
Are you
please
coming
tell
in
me
low,
what
guys?
that's supposed to be.
That's hold on, dude. Who is it that's speaking? Die slow. Point source, non-point source. Does this prove that there is actually a downward bias in either way?
Yeah, it's not actually traveling downward. It's traveling away from space. You guys kind of looking at it from a different angle.
Would you give us a little bit more on
Mate.
that, please?
Yeah, indeed, Brian.
How is this connected to relativity?
Don't worry about
Wait, though.
Hold on. Don't worry about relativity. I don't think the guy's fighting for a globe Earth. Correct me if I'm wrong, Die Slow. You're not actually fighting this from a globe Earth gravity perspective, are you?
No way, man.
Didn't think
flat.
so. Just feel free.
Good.
Take your time. I'll stop anyone from interrupting. You can just expand on what you're trying to explain to us, because I'm not following along, and I don't think Brian is either, and that's what he's asking.
Well, my original question when you guys were talking about parallel sun rays versus angular sun rays, I wanted to ask a question pertaining to that. And do we ever observe anything in nature traveling in a straight line? And if we do we ever notice two of those lines traveling parallel? Because I don't think that's an observed phenomena from my perspective.
What do we observe actually parallel or plumb, whichever you prefer, in nature?
Yeah, I don't see lines traveling parallel. I see everything converging at an apex. Nature doesn't make straight lines. It uses curvilinear. So when you guys invoke straight lines coming off the sun from a globe perspective, it's just a pure fallacy.
I agree. The straight lines from the sun is a pure fallacy.
Well, that's
because
good,
we see divergent rays.
Okay,
What about
excellent.
this 2 points thing, though?
Hold on 1 second. Excellent, because obviously you've now got us all on your side, which is wonderful. Great. But what about this incoherent dielectric acceleration and point sources, you said? What was that? I don't understand.
Yeah, there's a difference between point source versus non-point source. It's the same thing when you look at a 5-watt light bulb versus a 5-watt laser beam. One will burn a hole in your ass, and the other one you could barely read a book next to. So what's the difference if they're both 5 watts?
Yeah, the concentration, the focus. Okay, but how does this relate to downward bias?
So that's the difference between magnetism and gravity, and the fact that magnetism is point source versus gravity being non-point source.
So what is
What's
gravity?
gravity
Hold on. What is gravity then?
Well, you guys had it right when I don't know where you got those words from, but when you were calling it incoherent dielectric mutual mass acceleration, that's precisely what it is.
So why call it gravity? Okay,
that's
guys,
precisely
hello.
is.
So
Yes.
why hello? So why relabel it gravity then? I don't understand why that's been done.
I never called it gravity. I'm just saying gravity's not a force like they try to assume.
Okay, so if you're not calling it gravity and you're just describing an incoherent dielectric accelerative force, what does this have to do with the nature of Earth in any way, shape, or form, other than it being an interesting folly?
Because mass doesn't attract mass like they try to invoke the thought of. Mass actually attracts towards the lowest null pressure point. So when they try to tell you things are attracting to other things, it's a complete fallacy.
Yeah,
And
but
furthermore,
what is this
So
Furthermore-
in your opinion,
furthermore,
it would be
masses-
wrong to call. My bad. In your
Furthermore,
opinion, it
masses
would be
don't-
wrong then
when you
to
see
call
masses-
incoherent
you both
dielectric
just gonna
acceleration.
neither are you
Oh
going
my
to yield to each
God.
other. Clearly, one of you's got to yield to each other, or we can't hear either of you.
Chocolate.
I'm just trying to clear it up because dude wanted to address me. So you would say that it would not be coherent to call incoherent dielectric acceleration gravity, right?
Yeah, the difference between so-called gravity and so-called magnetic attraction is that in the case of magnets, they are multiplicative point source objects accelerating. So the intensity is many magnitudes greater than that of common objects accelerating towards the null point in counter space. So mere mass of the conventional kind are point specific or incoherent objects.
Okay.
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 Can't
we
just
just
got one
call
more
it the
question
Hoodlum
for him.
Devil
Hello.
instead
one
of
more question.
gravity?
Hello. Just got one more question for you. Okay. If I'm to say the force described 106 years ago, labelled Newtonian gravity, mass attracting mass, is not the explosive force, and then I describe the explosive force in great detail, is it useful that I juxtapose gravity with the explosive force in the same way you're juxtaposing it with an incoherent dielectric acceleration? What's the use of comparing it other than to say it isn't that? It's also not a number of other things. So why is it useful to juxtapose the two?
When you pre-assume that mass is attracting mass, you fall into this fallacy of this warped space-time, which superficially explains this phenomena. However, it's not entirely accurate.
What's the phenomena?
But mass attracting. Sorry.
Hold on. Which phenomena? Mass
When you look
attracting
at-
mass. Hold on.
Yeah, when you look at two objects like in space per se, and they're coming together, they spin around each other for quite some time before they ever actually meet. And the reason is because they're in a conjugate vortex. Mass isn't actually attracting towards mass, i.e. from A to B. It's curved linear. So this is the reason why we see that take place.
See what take place? What are we watching take place again?
We see things spinning around each other. We don't see them actually coming together. They spin around each other for quite some time before they actually ever meet.
Where do we observe this?
In space, two like celestial bodies meeting.
Space.
What?
I don't know where he's gone with this.
I don't know.
I can lead him. It's okay, guys. I can lead him fine. Yeah, what do you mean when you say in space?
Yeah, so when we observe phenomena taking place in space, and we see two stars coming together, they never actually collide straight together. They'll come together and spin around for a long time before they ever meet and touch.
And when is this being observed? Who's observing this?
Astrophysicists. I mean, I'm not physically seeing it. I'm not in space, but nevertheless, that's what's noticeably observed when they talk about it. So
Okay, so just see if I'm incorrect in my summary. Just wait till the end and tell me why. From what I glean, you're saying that the force of mass attracting mass, which is not bending space-time, fourth dimensional pseudo-Riemannian space-time, is actually, when describing the phenomena of lights in the sky twirling around each other and meeting each other, something that I can't ever say I've observed, but maybe you'll give me an example, is explained by incoherent dielectric acceleration. So the phenomena, the effect, is these lights in the sky, and the cause is incoherent dielectric acceleration. Is that correct as a summary?
well, you're kind of getting things a little confused. Like gravity is what you call the incoherent dielectric mutual mass acceleration.
No, it isn't.
And light.
No, it isn't. Stop.
that?
Stop. No, that is not what gravity is. So, no, let's not worry about what gravity is. That's something else. I'm asking you if your phenomena is lights in the sky twirling around each other, something I've never observed, and your cause of that effect I've never observed is incoherent dielectric acceleration. Is that the case or not? Don't worry about gravity, because
Yeah.
this isn't that.
Are you talking about orbit? Yeah. If you're talking about orbit, sure. You're explaining geomagnetic precession.
No, I'm not
That's
describing... Stop.
essentially.
No, I'm not describing
What the
anything.
hell?
I'm summarising what you're describing and trying to gain clarity on your description. This isn't my claim, it's yours. I'm trying to gain clarity on your claim and what you're saying. So if you're saying orbits, you need to clarify what you're saying about your claim of the effect that's being studied and the claim of the cause, incoherent dielectric acceleration. So, third time. Is the claim phenomena lights in the sky twirling around, aka orbits, which is a begging the question fallacy? Don't know if you realise that. And that claim cause of orbits, I beg in the question fallacy, is incoherent dielectric acceleration. Is that the cause and effect relationship we're talking about?
Man, that was like a loaded question. I don't even know like what you're asking me at that point.
Okay. What's the phenomena being studied? What's the claimed cause of its effect? Simple.
Well, orbit and gravity are two separate things, man. Like space is a divergent magnetic field, okay? And I told you what my perception of gravity was. When you're talking about orbit, that's geomagnetic precession. That's entirely separate phenomena. It has to do with magnetism, not gravity.
Wait, why are we going off into the weeds? I just
Oh,
need to know.
really?
It's all this bullshit.
Guys, I don't need help, Arwin, thank you. Just need to know what you're claiming we're studying. Is it quote-unquote orbits or not? Is that the phenomena?
No, I'm not talking about the when stars come together and collide. All right, that's not an orbit. That's breaking the orbit. So those are two separate things, man.
I don't
Orbit
care.
and stars colliding.
My friend,
separate
I
things.
don't care. I just want you to tell me what's being studied. This is your claim. I don't know or care, nor am I claiming it is or isn't orbits. I'm using the words that have come out of your mouth and trying to get you to tie yourself down to the words you've already used, and you seem hesitant to tie yourself to your own words at this stage. It's getting frustrating. Just tell me what's being studied.
Yeah, never mind, man. Just forget whatever I said.
Why? You're here to claim incoherent dielectric acceleration. I'm trying to establish what that is in relation to the debate about the nature of the reality we experience. If you're saying it's about lights in the sky, or orbits, or lights moving towards each other, those are the things you've given me. You just need to say, yeah, the words I've used already were the thing I mean. If they're not, then what? Number one, why did you say them? And if they are, you just need to say, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I'm all confused right now. So yeah, sure.
Dude, you're
that's right,
winding
man.
me up. You're winding me up. And
I'm not trying to, man. I
Hello.
apologize, man. Just forget I said anything, bro.
No,
My
I don't
bad.
want to forget, and I don't want to berate you either. You seem like a nice guy, but if it's reached the point where you're like, I don't really understand what I'm claiming, just disclaim that. Don't duck out. Just say, yeah, based on my current knowledge of this understanding of this incoherent dielectric acceleration as an explanation for lights twirling around in the sky or orbits, whichever you haven't clarified, I don't really understand how the claim works or what I'm claiming, because that's how it seems, but you're like, no, I'm going to run away. And no, just say, no, I don't really get it. It doesn't really make any sense. And we'll all nod and go, yes, that's right. It doesn't really make any sense, as you're detecting as I'm going through it with you.
Yeah, I was just talking about gravity in itself and explaining the reason why every brand of current science is self-confused to be utterly perplexed by what gravity is. And it's because they're atomists looking for answers in all the wrong places. And they've reified insane notions of warp space-time to superficially explain things.
Philosophy.
Well,
We don't want to hear the philosophy behind it, and it's pseudoscientists, not scientists. Get that right.
yeah,
What's that?
definitely pseudo.
But the problem is,
Yeah.
there's enough information out there for you to come and punt this as somehow a substitution for gravity. Again, I'm not having a massive go at you at this stage, but based on what's happened, the limited knowledge, wherever you may have got it from, has failed you badly. Can you recognise that?
A force, gravity being a force.
We're not
What are you
doing anything.
saying? A
Stop.
force of what?
You don't invoke
Stop.
that.
You're going to annoy me really fast, right? This isn't our claim. Let's just get that clear, because that will piss me off royally. When I claim, no, mate, no claim from me here, just you. So let's get that straight.
Okay.
Just let's get that
Fair
straight.
enough.
We're detailing what you've claimed, so don't say when you claim and then detail something you've just claimed and we've pulled apart for it having no logical conclusion, no observed phenomena to study, no reasonable hypothesis for the cause of that effect, no connection to the current assertion of gravity and bending space-time, certainly no connection to that when it's a distant relative that's not connected, superseded 106 years ago when you talk about mass attracting mass. Now, I can concisely summarise this stuff because I do understand it, but you're here defending it like it's a reasonable position to defend. And I'm saying it isn't, and based on your limited knowledge of this subject, which is nonsensical, you've come here to defend it and failed.
Fair to call gravity then, man. Can you enlighten me?
Gravity is
What's
currently
gravity?
defined as the uneven distribution of mass causing the bending of pseudo-Riemannian force space, otherwise known as space-time. That is what gravity currently is. It definitely is not incoherent dielectric acceleration.
All right, man. Well, thanks for clearing that up.
My pleasure.